The editing's
We live.
Well, I put the microphone up my ass really quick.
Whoa.
Direct ASMR fart.
Yeah.
It's all muffled.
Yep. Anyway, we're back. Episode 8, Spool'd Up Podcast. We have another guest. Introduce yourself.
Cody Hale. I'm the guest, I guess.
Hey, I'm a rapper.
Nice.
Spitting dimes over here already. Brett's excited. Great. Brett, you guys know each other pretty well.
Yeah, we've been friends throughout high school.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
Since high school? Mm-hmm. So you went to Baser?
Yep. Went to Baser.
We
What
weren't
was
like,
that experience together in high school?
well, we weren't really like as good of friends now as we were in high school, but he ended up, I bought my Camaro, and then he had a Subaru WRX, and then we started racing around together, and then that's kind of pretty much inseparable since.
What are you guys the same age? Or
Yeah, so we're like the same age, same grade. I played football. He played his freshman year.
He played the flute.
I was just a little guy.
And then he dipped out after that. So we ran around with the same group of friends.
Yeah.
And you know, when there's eight or 10 of you,
Right.
you're always hanging out with the same kind of people. So that's kind of how our friendship started.
Right.
And then, yeah, like I said, it was like he knew I was into cars. I knew he was into cars. I'd got my car. He had bought his. And it was just like, I think I was just at home one day and I heard him rumbling up the street, come out, and then it's been history ever since. So,
Yeah, he traded the Subaru for a blue F-body, which is where that back piece came from.
yep, that up
Oh,
on the wall.
nice.
She got totaled.
Memento.
She tried to take me out, but I'm
This
still
one did?
kicking. Yeah. So I was actually on K7. It was Mother's Day. I came home to visit my family because I lived in Lawrence.
Yeah.
And I hydroplaned the car, spun, I don't know, maybe 6-8 times. And I hit when I came around, I smacked the guardrail like a T-bone almost, spun me around. Yeah, I made the car a whole C. It was gnarly.
Still ran and drove though.
Yeah,
he
still
drove it
ran
over
and
to my
drove. I
house.
drove it home. We gutted it apart.
Damn.
We had
Yeah,
parts.
it was quite the experience.
What was done to that car?
In its final stages of life, it was literally just a cammed bolt-on F-body,
Yeah, tuned. It was.
tuned, had I think we had like a drag radial or something on the back.
Yeah,
of it.
I think we had a Nitto.
Yeah.
No slick or nothing like that.
Yeah, but he had those deep dish ZR1 wheels, the silver
Yep.
ones on it. It
Oh,
looked,
yeah. Those are good looking wheels.
it looked
Yeah.
good. It was a good car. It was a good car.
Got a good deal on it. Just
Yeah.
one of them things. Well, it's like you're running around with everybody that's got a V8. And I started out, I mean, more or less a tuner, I guess, because I had the WRX. But it's just, you can't beat them, join them, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So did you like cars growing up, or was it something you kind of got into when you got into high school and started driving, or what got you into cars?
Always liked cars. My dad had a Nova, but that was kind of pre my time. Growing up, my mom always had an IROC Camaro, so that was a big thing for me. I always loved that car, and unfortunately, but I inherited it. And then,
Is that one sitting out
yeah,
there?
it's the one sitting
That's
right outside
yeah.
the driveway.
Yep.
And then, yeah, it was just one of those things. Like, I was all about football, though. And then when, like, high school comes to an end, you kind of just got to, like, you're starting to put your ducks in a row, so you
Yep.
want to figure out what you're going to do in life. And football wasn't the route I was going. And I still had enough passion for cars. It was like, let's figure out something with cars.
Yeah.
But didn't Kenny have a C10 though?
Yeah, so he had a square body growing up. It had a small block 400 that he swapped out of this Oldsmobile he had. And imagine the farm truck, same deal. We had the camper shell. This thing was white, rusting, falling apart. Had a huge sticker made that we put on the back, said honk if anything falls off. And he had a 4-speed in it. And I just remember being a kid, we would just melt the tires from stoplights and stop signs, you know, just that kind of thing. So we had a real bad winter, and he literally daily drove this thing. And we had a real bad winter, and a tree fell, and it just arrowed in on the truck.
Fuck.
Bent it in half, took it to a friend's of his. We gutted the motor out of it and junked the rest. Threw this thing in the shed forever, this motor sat. Probably 2-3 years ago. he's always had a Nova. He had a Nova and always wanted another one.
Right.
So I just pestering the hell out of him. Hey, let's get a Nova. Let's get a Nova. And by this time, I'd moved back to town and was living with him. And I was always wheeling and dealing stuff. Mm-hmm. And I had came across like a transmission and some other parts. And I literally just showed up and was like, hey, here's the parts to finish the rest of your car. We're going to go find a Nova. So we ended up finding him a Nova down in Texas.
So that's what this one is.
No, this is
This is his.
listen. This gets worse. I'm a hoarder. Yeah, there's 3 Novas in the family. There's this guy sleeping here. There's one out back on a trailer. There's one at my dad's. When I do something, I just go all in.
Yeah.
Like it just depends.
He can't focus
yeah.
on one thing at a time.
So what, the car that sits behind us, what is it, and what's the story with this thing?
This is a 71 Nova. It's got a small block 350 in it, turbo 350, stock 10 bolt, nothing special. So I buy and sell a lot of stuff, and I bought this truck to fix up, flip it, pedal it off. Well, I had it on the marketplace, and people offer you dumb shit all the time. And sure enough, one day I get this message, guy's like, hey, I got a Nova. I'm like, oh, great. It's going to be like the late 70s.
Yeah.
It's going to be the one I don't like or whatever. Sends me a picture of this. And I mean, it had about 10 more layers of dust on it. But I'm like, man, that might be worth driving to see.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll load my truck up on the trailer. I'll come check yours out. I show up expecting this clapped out car. And I'm crawling around on this dude's like dirty floor shop that like it was like a storage shop. It wasn't even like a functioning shop. And crawling around on the ground, looking at it, and underneath it, I'm like, the floorboards are solid, the quarters are just barely rusted. I'm like, this thing's got most of its interior. I'm like, this deal's kind of getting sweeter and sweeter. And I'm like, there's gonna be a catch somewhere. Well, ends up being a title deal.
Yeah.
But I've done enough stuff with cars and trucks over the years that, to me, that was so minute. I was like, oh, that's an easy fix.
Yeah, it's worth it.
So I was like, looking at my buddy, I was like, because I took a different friend out there, I was like, do I drag this thing home to you? He's like, well, I mean, what's another car in your yard? I was like, that's all I had to hear.
Yeah.
So we're dragging this thing out of this dude's shop. And, came home with it. And he ended up giving me an extra transmission. And he's like, oh, hey, I got all these parts I bought for it. Brand new disc brakes conversion sitting in boxes, never used.
That's like a story that's like, seems like it's told a lot, where you buy a car and then someone's like, oh, I got all these parts. You come out with like a,
like a Bandit.
Yeah.
Didn't
you
it
come
have
out
a
with
floor?
like a honey load of freaking.
Did he have a
mother
floor
load
with
of
it?
parts,
Different car.
you know?
Oh, different car.
That seems like that.
That was a Ventura?
happens from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, honestly, yeah, it just seems like that's interesting. So what's the plans with this then? Or what do you want to do?
So I got everything's a long story with me, and I'll try to figure out how to make it as short as possible, because you guys could be here till midnight. So anyways, I bought this other truck, and I posted this C10 on the marketplace. Old boy out of Iowa hits me up and was like, hey, I got this Ventura. Would you be interested in trading? Because the patina on the C10, I mean, it was beautiful. It was baby blue, a little bit of rust showing through. Like,
perfect,
you put some Detroit steels on this thing in an LS swap, you're going to like, Grease-A-Rama, you're going to car shows,
Yeah.
So, and that was the big selling point for that truck. Hits me up with this Ventura, and he goes, I got a small block 350 sitting in the engine bay, and it's got a Kansas title. I'm like, well, shit, I ain't got to do nothing with the title. That's easy.
Yeah.
And kind of went back and forth with him a little bit, because sometimes I hate driving. Like, we do these crazy road trips, as you've heard.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, man, that 3 hours just ain't worth it.
Yep.
So I kind of pedaled him off for a little bit, and sure enough, he's got eager. I'll bring it on my truck and trailer. Hit me with the address. I'll come.
Damn.
Dude
serious.
drives all the way down here, backs up to the driveway, comes and looks at the truck. We end up deciding to make the deal. I pull it right here. It was like the next day, my buddy Tony comes over, and he's like, what are you doing with this one, man? I was like, hell, I don't know. There's cars everywhere. So, well, let's rip this motor out. We'll put it in the Nova. I was like, okay. So we just opened up the door. The Nova was over there. Just lifted the motor, spun the engine bay, dropped it in the next.
Nice.
So I want to get this where it's like running and driving, looking the way it looks. Like you go to the grocery store in this thing.
Yeah.
I don't care if someone door dings this one.
Yeah.
Some dude is going to be going into Walmart and like, damn, well, there's still one of these driving around at the gas station. Somebody's going to, stop and talk to me or whatever.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just enjoy this car. Just get her back to running. Some new tires, the disc brakes on it, drive around town,
Yep.
maybe to work on a Friday, that kind of thing.
That makes sense.
Hell yeah.
He sold the Ventura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pedal that guy off too. Well, I
mind you-
posted,
yeah,
so
you-
the Nova that's out back, I had it in front of the shop. I loaded it up on a trailer and put it out back. And I had posted it, and it's still posted. But ironically, that Ventura was sitting out front. And a guy came to look at the Nova, and he's walking by this car, and he goes, man, what are you doing with that thing? I said, I don't know yet. I haven't made up my mind. We go look at this Nova. And I can just see something is like stirring in him. And finally, he's like, I'm going to be real honest. The second I seen that car up there, I don't think I want this one anymore. Can we go look at that car? I said, sure, we can look at whatever you want out here. So we all for sale. All for the right price. So we walk back up here. And another 30, 40 minutes. Nice guy. Not too far from here. And he was like, this is it, man. It's a solid car. This is what I could do with. I'm like, sure. So he threw me a cash number. I kind of stewed on it for a minute. I'm like, just let it go, Cody. Don't hoard them.
Quick and easy.
Let it go. Yeah, because, I'll build everything. Like,
Yeah.
if I get, if I have one Camaro, I'll end up buying 3 more. And then I'm like, this one's going to be a drag car. That one's going to be Pro Touring.
Yeah.
And this one, I don't know yet.
That's the way my
He
mind
sends
is
me
too. My
shit
mind will
all
just,
the time.
It just goes and goes and goes and goes.
Well, at the same time, like a lot of parts are hard to come by anymore. He finds these F bodies that are rollers, but it's got a K member, A arms, brakes, torque arm, 9
Buy the
inch
whole
under
thing
it.
and take what you need,
Yeah.
Because it almost seems easier that way, because if you have the capability to part something out and a little bit of space, why not do it?
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Because, you might get the deal where, because I'm sure some old boy's already hitting him up like, hey, man, would you sell them wheels off that thing? Then dude's like, man, this sits in my single car garage. What am I going to do with a car with no wheels? I come along and say, hey, I'll give you this much for the whole thing. Get it out of your hair. You don't have to look at it no more. And tell the wife you made half of that, So sometimes the deal works out, sometimes it don't. But
Yeah, you never know until you try.
But I've done stuff like that all the time. Like, there's a guy that me and him both know. This car was running and driving, and I kid you not, we pulled motor, trans, rear end, everything.
Oh, yeah.
Turned it back to a stock kind of car because it had a Midwest 9-inch in it, and it had a spool. So and it had a
It was
T50
6-speed car,
Yeah, it
6-speed
was a
car with a
six-speed
drag
car.
spool
Yeah.
and a hard tire on it, so it wasn't very fun to drive.
Yeah, you turn a corner and it's chopping and doing all that, and
Yeah,
the car looked nice enough. Is like you put this back to back
Was
to
it like an F body?
yeah,
It was
this
a-
is
yeah,
F-body.
Formula.
What color was it?
Black.
Black.
I can show it to you if you want.
It's up in the upper
It's
garage.
up in the other garage.
He goes, "This for sale."
Well, ironically,
No.
it was gonna be, and I
Sounded like my old car.
So it had a
I wouldn't sock 'em
417.
out. It was my car.
It had
I'm
a
looking for that bitch
417
for a while.
Thompson
Yeah.
Motorsports motor. It had a 417 cubic inch Thompson Motorsport motor with PRC heads.
Damn,
Nice.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
so
Little unit.
me and a buddy of mine, we do a bunch of wheeling and dealing together, and it worked out. He was building a 3rd gen at the time, and I kid you not, we just LS swapped this thing. Bought a donor car, LS swapped it,
Ran and drove.
and then this deal pops up, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
you want to spend a little money?
It had-
Let's get you a
yeah.
sweet motor.
Put
It had an
some power in
LSA
it.
on it too.
Yeah, it had an LSA bolted to the LS1 that was in it.
Yeah.
And so we decided, I was like, got him, talked on board. I was like, listen, you get a really awesome motor. There's receipts for this thing. I know the guy. We can put this thing back to stock. We can sell the car. We get parts that we want. We make a little money. Everything's kosher,
Right.
Well, right about the time this building's going up, so it's kind of a headache, but we got it done. And then my brother, growing up, never showed interest in cars. He's always a sports kid. He could tell you people's weight, their speed, that kind of thing. And he'd been over a couple times, and he kind of was just joking like, man, I kind of like that car. Hey, when you going to let me drive that? Or when am I going to take my car home? Shit like that. And he'd said one more remark, and I was like, you really want this car? He's like, well, I mean, I'd be interested. I'm like, dude, I'll sell it to you for like, I'll take a loss. I'll get my boy paid just to get you into this.
Yeah.
I would love that more than anything.
See him drive something.
Exactly. So that's what ended up happening. I sold it to my brother, and
That's
so
pretty
it's
cool.
still around. I was just like, it's perfect for him. And like I tell these guys all the time, it's like there's days you just wish you had that bolt-on cammed car
Oh, yeah.
because you can drive it. You can still enjoy it. You don't got to load the damn thing up to go do something. Mm-hmm. You get out there one day, you're driving to work or whatever, you're like, looks like it's open. Wow, rip it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I wanted a 6-speed car,
Yeah.
Camaro, but you can't fucking find them.
I wish I could find my old car so bad.
10 grand. Even the LT1 cars, a nice one with a 6-speed, they're expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Back when I bought my white one, he bought his blue one. I mean, you can pick them up for $5 grand.
Yeah.
500. Now they're 12 grand, 13 grand.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
going up.
Yeah, for sure.
They're going up for sure.
So do you guys want to talk about Jesse, want to talk about the Cletus and... I want to hear about it. I haven't heard about it.
Okay, so I'll kind of go into it and lead us there. So Cletus, obviously, since we talked on the last podcast, they had to put he was going to put an SMX in his car, right? So they were getting all the subscribers. It happened. He got to his 400,000 subscriers. Got
Yeah,
the car.
they started it.
They threw the thing in and a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very fast.
Yeah.
There was a lot of work involved.
Yeah, they rewired everything.
They had to do the cold side too, which
Well,
there ain't much to his cold
it's
side.
also
hot side, too.
yeah, hot side too, yeah.
It's also a dry sump, so you have to account for that and put
Yep.
run new
The
lines and
filter
do all
and
that.
everything.
So they got it fired up. Pete Harrell came down and he looked like he was there for a hot minute waiting.
Yeah,
He looked like he was getting kind of
He's
restless.
like, yep, been sitting here for 8 hours.
Yeah, charging him. Cletus is like,
He was like,
"Oh,
who's counting? So, but they got it fired up. Sounded really good. They made a decision like, okay, we're trying to get this thing done, get it ready for TX2K. And they were like, do we put it on the dyno? Which cars in that power range, and when you have a professional tuner there, that also makes a big difference because they have so much data. They understand how many pounds per hour fuel that car or that kind of engine would need to make a decent pass down. It's not like we're just throwing some, a dyno really helps obviously tune and be in a safer environment. But, he was able to get it down and they decided to go ahead and go to the track, not worry about the dyno and make some licks. So that's what the newest video is about. He went down, they made the first hit. He said it might not even do a burnout. We don't know. And it went like 130, 60 foot, the first rip off of like 100-foot pole. He did another one. It went like 120s. And then he made another pass. I will say before the last pass, so I think it was the second pass after that one, that car has a clear view. If you don't know what a clear view is, it's an oil filtration that is sitting through, coming off the oil pump. And it basically, you can see through the top, any kind of bearing material, different things like that through it as well. So it helps you kind of visually check things. And they saw some bearing or some material they believed to be bearing material inside the clear view. They called Steve Morris. He said he wasn't really worried about it. To go ahead and pull it out, clean it out, put it back together, and then start it up again. He wasn't really that worried about it. Kind of going back into it, that motor was the motor that was in the wagon, which it slung all 8 rods into it, and they rebuilt the whole entire
Catastrophic
thing.
failure.
He rebuilt it. It put it into the wagon, did a sick week. I think pulled it out and sent it to Cletus, I believe is the correct
timeline.
Yeah, the timeline. So they, it did have all that happen. There were some discussions around, was it just pulling or was it from the previous blow up or is it new, like the material they're seeing come through?
Or not.
So Steve said, fire it back up, see if you see anything in there. They looked after cleaning out the clear view, there was nothing in there. So they went ahead and sent him back down, and they're like, we'll just go ahead and make another rip. Well, Pete threw a pretty spicy tune-up in it, and it went 118,
114.
114,
Holy
60
shit.
foot, 296 or 291
It was
to the 330.
290 something in the 330.
It was like 6 numbers off their fastest 330 ever on the like third pass
With the 540,
on 27 pounds of boost, which it was in up in the 40s on the 540
Yeah, they
cubic
were,
inch motor.
they were
So
slinging the boost too. with
way
the old
less
motor.
boost, and what Steve told him is up over 50 pounds of boost. I think is in the safe range. I believe is what they
Yeah,
told
it
him.
said it's rated for about 70. Yeah.
Jesus.
So they already are running extremely fast. They pulled it back, checked the clear view, and they saw some material again. And I guess they got a hold of Steve. Steve said, I'll come out, meet you in Texas, and throw bearings in it if that's what it is.
Damn.
So they pulled the pan. They took it back to the shop, pulled the pan off. The pan showed chunks of metal in it. They pulled all the main bearings, all the rod bearings, and saw nothing. So they were still trying to figure out, is it still from the previous blow up? Pete was there. Pete said, I don't see anything that would show that I would be alarmed about, other than obviously the metal that they're seeing, but they can't see where it's coming from. They said, unless it's a camshaft bearing, but the likelihood of a big block style camshaft bearing going out is slim to none. So what came of this is, they're like, well, we're going to slap it all back together. Steve says he is, I believe, still going to meet them in Texas. I don't know if he's going to put bearings in it. That's all we really know. That's to the point of what we know. There was some obviously a lot of people talking about that, right? And a lot of people have a lot to say about that because it's supposed to be a fresh, brand new motor. It didn't even make not even a pass. It made like a 330 hit, and they're having issues. And I think, there's a lot of people talking bad about that. There's, people obviously defending Cletus and talking it from that side. My opinion is it's without having the money involved, it being my car and seeing everything and knowing the full story. I think a lot of people that were talking about it didn't watch the whole video because I think they got like 3/4 of the way through the video, were going crazy on it. Some people, but I don't know. Me personally, there's a lot to say about it. I don't know. It's a situation. They're trying to make a lot of horsepower. Things happen, and I think as long as Steve's willing to come in and fix whatever,
Extend himself
and fix whatever the situation is, I think is the most important thing that I would feel behind is if he's going to honor the work and say, we'll get it taken care of one way or another. It's not a big deal. That's where I feel,
he's standing behind his money.
Standing behind his work.
Legit.
And I think he's going to. And I think there's a lot of unanswered questions coming into this point that without being there, you're making just complete guesses in the situation. But there's a lot to say about everything because it's all relevant. But.
Well, that, and we're only seeing what they show on the video. There could be a lot going on in the background behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Hell, they could have pulled the motor out and let's pull the lifters out. Let's start looking at valve train parts because the bearings are looking clean. We need to go up in the motor instead of looking at the bearings, going straight to what you think is wrong. But I mean, who knows? But I agree with you. It's if there's anybody out there that is willing to do that with their product, I mean, it's kudos to them because there's not many people out there. It's like I've heard horror stories from multiple avenues of high performance motors, transmissions, rear ends, whatever anybody spends good money for. Like, oh, here you go. If it fucks up,
Yeah, just a one-way product.
yeah, exactly. If it fucks up, well, send it back, and
No one wants to stand behind them.
Yeah, go ahead and send a blank check with that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, God damn.
What I charged you the first time?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Well, and that he's
let's double
he's not trying to blame Pete, because that's the first thing people blame. Oh, the tuner,
Yeah.
In
this case,
And
I feel like in this case it's just goes to show it's a huge risk being in if you have a business and you're like it's a huge risk to reward. It can be a big deal. It can blow your business up huge working with a YouTuber. But I've seen it blow up in the business's face 9 times out of 10. I've seen it with, and most, I'm not saying it's not the business's fault in some of the situations. Like I've seen it with Street Racing Channel. I've seen it 100,000 times on John Dock's channel of him getting screwed over by somebody. Yep. And that person, because when you have a fan base, especially a fan base as big as Cletus behind you,
you got a lot of subscribers.
It could not even be one person. Like it may not even be that business's fault. I'm not speaking to this specific situation, but if you have a big enough fan base behind you, it doesn't matter. They're going to side with whatever that person says. So to Jesse's point, it's we don't know. You know what I mean? That might be the true story. They may have told us everything we know. It could be something else. There's a lot of questions about it, but
there's two sides to every story, and
we don't know.
No one's there but them.
And I think that's the most valid point behind it is nobody knows. So until we do know, or again,
hope for the best.
Yeah. Make your own assumptions by it. If that is a negative aspect that you don't like about it, then
I think a lot of people, they'll see, especially the people that don't spend the money on that type of shit. I mean, that's probably say $100,000.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, it's expensive.
Well, I mean,
it's all one-off parts.
Yeah, and it was all the engineering and designing that went into that.
Right.
I mean, you got to add that to it.
Who knows how many years Steve has put into that?
Right.
He's been dreaming about that shit.
Right, and he can't blame the tuner in that area because he's got data on that same engine.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The same, damn near the same setup, so he could send Cletus a tune out of the wagon and be like, here, try this.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, well, if it's still fucking up, then it's not the tune. I mean, at that point, how do you blame the tune for a mechanical failure like that?
Yeah, parts are going to fail.
Yeah.
I mean, they're especially when you're, I mean, boost, that's just ridiculous. I mean,
it's not. Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope everything gets figured out, but there's been a lot of scuttlebutt going around on the interwebs of horror stories, and I don't know. It's like Bret said, there's two sides to every story.
Yeah, it's like a Me Too movement.
Well, you got that many
It's
people.
really what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get that many people involved, for sure. I mean, especially big money, too. I mean,
Well, when you look at it, Cletus is like, hey, I need help to get this guy 200,000 subscribers in one freaking week.
Yeah.
And it happened?
Yeah.
I mean, just that's the power of it right there. And it's...
Yeah.
People don't take that for...
Yeah. He's a good dude, too. I mean, you can just tell how good a dude his whole crew is.
Oh, Cletus?
Yeah. And Steve, too. I mean,
I think they're just it's an interesting situation, and then, like, until we know more about it, you know what I mean? It's
I'm sure they'll have another video tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just going to sit and wait and watch, and that's all we can do. I mean, it's just like the news or media or whatever. We take what we get for information and try to figure out what we think about it based on what it is, you know?
Yeah,
it's like,
get the
is it real or not? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just, good Lord, one of those things.
Yeah.
How's your week been?
Uneventful,
nothing.
Yep.
You kind of got the truck kind of back together, right?
Yeah, I got the motor and it got all the wiring connected. Just waiting on some silicone hoses so I can make some burn down hoses and stuff like that, and then I can put the trains in it and order a drive shaft.
Because that's something you're changing going into. Now that you got your motor changed, you put a burn down tank in the back and running hoses back.
Yeah,
right?
I put I think it's like 3.5 or 4 gallon tank, and I'm running all of the fluids, everything but the rear end, to this one tank. So if we do have some catastrophic failure, the trans, coolant, and oil all goes to one central location behind the tire.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I'm trying expect the worst and hope for the best type deal. I'm not saying it's going to go out there and blow up, but you never know.
Yeah.
So if I can prevent the most that I can, it's cheap
good insurance. Yeah.
Could save your life.
Exactly.
She gonna go fast.
Well, that, and it could save the truck too. I mean, I'd hate to pile that damn thing up.
No shit. That's the shitty part
cry.
about having
Just
so
takes
much.
a little bit. Just a little bit.
That's the bad part, how having a race car truck that like have so much sentimental value towards versus just like like what you were saying about this thing. It's just like it has its purpose. You know, I'm not worried about it. You know, as much.
you found the niche, or it was a junkyard build or a cheap car. You know,
you care about it, but you don't care.
Tool.
It's like,
No, I get that 100% because that's like, I mean, having F bodies, everything I have would go right into that third gen. The car is so sentimental to me that it's like, I want to do it because it'd be sweet, right? Yeah. But then all my friends are like, hey, dude, listen, you don't want to race that thing. You don't want to do this. Like, do an LS swap, do what you want, but don't go full retard and do the whole...
That's
take it too far.
Yeah, because then, you know, like you said, you know, something happens. What if it's not even me? Yeah. And somebody next to me,
bam, hits the side of you.
It's like, oh, boy.
Oh, man, another good YouTube channel is Tim McCamus.
Yep.
If you follow him, that guy, he made a perfect video about that situation.
I follow him.
Yeah. He's got a lot of suspension know-how.
He's like a chassis builder, right?
Yeah, he's in Missouri. He's a very top-notch, I'd say, in the top 1%. Chassis guys, and he it's so funny. He's got a video about basically all that builds pro mods for the most part, and he was going on about dumb fucks and being a hero, and it's oh god, it's so damn funny.
Yeah, but you see it on the internet and you see it on the TV.
Well, I mean,
I've seen it. We've seen it in person.
Yeah, I mean, see it in person
for a race that was $100. Yeah,
exactly. That, not to dig at the no prep guys, but that's where I see it the most often is guys being heroes. They're like, oh, there's money on the line. I better overdrive. You know, overdrive the car, the surface, my own talent. You know,
and ain't no more money that's in my car.
Yeah,
I mean, most of the pots that I've raced for are under $5,000.
Right.
I get shitty, I let out. It ain't, especially nitrous. It wasn't that big a deal because you just let out. But turbo's a little more. You get that wheel speed, the mile an hour. It's a lot different.
But yeah, I mean, still, it's knowing your limit too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
in your car's limit.
Well, it also goes with, I think every one of us here we had those like high school days we just talked about with just our cars that were 300, 400 horsepower, and we did the craziest shit we've ever done in our entire life. So we figured our limits out in the safest way possible with ourselves, just fucking, sliding the car down the street and shit, and be like, you as a younger person, you learn some of those things. You really learn how to control a car properly, and with racing becoming like more popular, some of these people the scary shit is the first fast car they are ever getting in is a car that is capable of running fives, and that is fucking scary as shit to have someone who has no experience behind something.
Dude, running 630s down a shitty road is sketchy.
Running 630s down the track, if you have no experience, is sketchy. I mean, it's a fucking experience. If you've never driven anything,
dude, I put my car in the ditch twice. That white Camaro's been in the ditch twice.
So you learn, like, you're learning.
Yeah, you're going to learn. But
yeah, I don't like going sideways.
No, but like Brady just said, I don't know how many cars or builds I've personally worked on or been around where the guy building the car is like, yeah, I'm building this car for this guy, and the fastest he's ever been is 16.5 in the quarter, and he's building this 1,500 horsepower car. It's like...
Well, that's the problem with it. So many people...
It's so easily achievable.
It's so easy to achieve.
Technology and money, and if you have enough
money is a horrible thing about it too, because now it's not like it once was, where like, maybe you had to fabricate a little bit more, or you had to be somewhat educated on how turbo systems work. Either one of us can get on YouTube and watch dozens of cars that make 1,000 horse with a turbo LS. And imagine if you've never been in the 300 horsepower car.
You just call on 3 and be like, hey, I need a fucking turbo kit, and there you go, you're 800 horse.
Open a fucking Summit Racing catalog. It's all right there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, my buddies, they're already worked up to this. I want to get into this.
Exactly.
Well, they've taken the time to build their car to it and drive it and learn. And then there's that one guy that's like, well, I'm making a little bit of money, and they know what they're doing.
If I knew I was going to be where I was today, I would have bought a car. A complete... roller, at least chassis car that I just had to put a drivetrain in. But mind you, I wouldn't have been able to drive it.
You wouldn't be where you are today if you did do that. Probably. I mean,
you save money doing that for sure, but you don't get the reputation, you don't get the experiences, you don't get the memories, you don't. Man, me and him have made so many memories. Just my car being the most memories we made was I was LS3 on a 250 shot micro Swift right off the line.
Yeah.
That's the most memories we had, was full stock car with a flip-up radio. full interior.
It's just that thing of getting out there, though. You know what I mean?
It just
Subwoofers would go off in the back like Fast and the Furious. All the LEDs were going nuts.
I would put sods back in the BMW.
Yeah.
We roll around.
It launched so hard the wires would come out of the sub.
Dude. That's
One
funny.
story I do want to hit on was with me and him. So when I first started racing, I bought an LS3 and we put it in the car, and I had a 250 shot. It was just wide open throttle switch. We had no controller and just basic shit.
All or nothing, yeah.
And Toby hit me up and was like, hey, there's this fucking race in St. Louis. Do you want to go? I was like, well, I got to ask Cody because he had a Duramax. He had a trailer. You know, I didn't have nothing. I had a square body. You know, I couldn't pull it all the way to St. Louis. So he's
You
like,
want to make friends? Get a trailer.
Yeah. No shit. No shit.
So Cody's like, all right, let's go. So we went down there, and Toby said it was the best road he's ever been on. It was some farm road. No, we'd be there all night, the whole, whatever. So we get there, and some assholes in big tire cars decided they were going to go test. Because this guy's like, hey, you can't do it till this time. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with it being from here to here. And these guys went and tested during the day and pissed the farmer off. And the guy was like, nope, can't have it here. If you guys do it, I'll call the cops. So we're downtown St. Louis.
Somewhere like that.
And I don't know how old we were, 22, 23, maybe. And we're
a couple young bucks.
I'm in the street class and the small tire class. I'm in 2 classes, and we only brought 1 nitrous bottle.
Oh fuck!
Man, I was running Nano.
Well, I think we brought a couple, but it wasn't as many as we had because we had like 4 or 5. I think we brought like maybe 2.
Yeah, it was
Maybe
maybe
2
because your holder, he had that like dual holder thing that went off
the
the back
same one
of the
that's
cage.
in the car.
Yeah.
It was in the car. And so we go down there, and I get sure as fuck. First round, I'm racing another F body, and it's got, I don't know, it was a 12-point cage, had a crank-driven Pro Charger on it with a 408.
Well, he's
Fucking race car.
got to
In the street class.
just a little bit because that was the whole, like you just said, the street class thing. So when we're doing like your chip buys-in, when you're doing your chip-ins or buy-ins,
Yeah, chip draw.
anyways, this guy comes along and is like, hey, has anybody got a problem if I buy into this class?
Because it was stock ECU class. It said
that was
stock
the rule on
ECU.
it. Oh, this thing, it's not a big deal. This car's just a little bracket car, like trying to underplay this car. And I mean, you got a good fair share of people who are like,
Is it a blow-through carburetor or something?
No, it was a Holly Dominator.
yeah,
Oh, what the fuck?
Stock
yeah,
ECU.
yeah,
It's
that's
pretty
what-
much how my car is now, but with a Pro Charger.
Yeah.
With a better cage.
Fuck.
So this guy basically more or less was like, hey, can I buy into this class? Anybody got a problem with it? And some guys were like, no, I don't think that's cool. Like you should be like small tire or something else. And it kind of got to like the 4 guys running the show were like, oh, well, if he just pays a little extra, he can get in. We'll do that.
doubled down.
The fuck?
He doubled down on this class.
That's stupid.
Then,
And
yeah.
mind you, me and him, like, if that happened today, I'd tell the guy to go fuck off. But, we were
Yeah, you're
young.
young.
We didn't
You
know
didn't
anyone.
Yeah.
Ryan Mitchell was there, I think.
Well,
and
even-
then we knew
There was a
Todd
lot of
Leary
KC
was there.
guys.
Yeah.
Even now, speaking of, I mean,
3 hours
it's
away from home.
Yeah,
didn't-
it's a really
Well, mind you,
fucked situation.
It gets fucking wild.
Oh, the whole story gets worse.
Oh, go keep
So,
going.
It gets wild.
Oh, really?
so sure enough, drawing chips, he gets him.
I draw this motherfucker.
round.
Yeah, first round. And
Go figure.
when we say like it was all or nothing with the nitrous, and it was an LS3. It wasn't like, oh, we've had this setup going for a little while. Da, da, da. It was like fresh setup. We don't know what we're doing.
Just put a standalone fuel cell
Just
in
put
it.
standalone on it. So
And
we're
Mo
like,
gave me like a half-assed tune because we didn't put on the dyno. We didn't do any testing. He's like, this should do okay,
and
it did. It
If
did
you know this
fine.
guy, everything's last second. So it's like, imagine it's Saturday, it's Friday night, and we're doing crazy shit, running around with their heads chopped off.
Yeah.
So sure enough, we draw this guy, and we're just like, oh fuck, here goes the night. Drive 3 hours. You're gonna get sent home on the trailer. Maybe get to dip
fucking
in the
asshole.
second. Yeah, because he dipped into a class he shouldn't have been in.
Yeah.
Well, ironically, we get there to the second spot because the farmer thing blew up, and we're sitting there. I mean, it's like we're sitting there ready to go, lined up on this road. The second pair is right behind us, sitting on the road, ready to go. Third pair, fourth pair. Old boy's nowhere to be seen. And like we're going back and forth, and you know, like you're not trying to stir too much shit, but finally I'm like,
30 minutes. 30 minutes go by.
I go up to the guy doing the deal. I'm like, hey, what's the deal? We've been sitting here.
Were the people running it got money in on the deal?
They're like,
so I go, no big deal. Like, yeah, let's come on.
Yeah, we'll just take our sweet time.
He gives him a big portion of the money.
I don't know.
That's what I'd be thinking.
Yeah. So I mean, well, you drive 3 hours, you just got a piss ant car, and you're, you know, at this point, we're spending more money to race than not that we could afford, but like you're pissing it away. You're just paying to play so that you might get recognized when you get fast enough. They're like, oh hell, we've been running with them boys. Like, yeah, they go out first round, but hell, look, they went 3 or 4 rounds this time. Like,
they're doing better.
You know. Yeah. So you kind of pay to play the game. So we show up. And we're sitting there for like 30 minutes, and finally I go to the old boys running, and I'm like, what's the deal? We've been here 30 minutes. We've drove 3.5 hours. We've been driving all over fucking St. Louis. It's like, are we going to get to the point where we're going to race or not?
Yeah.
I didn't come here and spend this money to just...
And mind you, I bought in 2 classes.
And get fucked by this dickhead that's not even up here. Yeah.
So what's the deal? Give him 15 minutes. Give him 15 minutes. I'm like, okay. I started a timer. 15 minutes. We walk away. We're sitting there. I mean, I'm standing by the car. He's in it. We're ready, rocked and rolled. And 15-minute timer hits up, and I'm like, hey, go up. Hey, we're going to make a pass. We make our pass. DQ. Old boys DQ. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And
I want to hear you say it. He said, yep, that's fine.
By all means, yeah.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not trying to fuck nobody, but I'm not going to sit for 4 hours while a pro mod car or whatever that might be gets ready
in a stock ECU
this
class.
This damn car's on a stock ECU and a drag radial. Come on, you should have drove here on what fuel you had.
Yeah.
So we pull up, and I'm like, hey, dude, whatever you can do, give it everything. Hit it, don't let out, just fucking go. Yeah. We're going to see what this car can do.
Got a buy run, yeah.
Got our buy run. And yeah, sure as shit, he gets out like 60 foot, and the car's like, and he's still trying to just run it out. And
with no one in the right lane.
Nobody in the right lane. Just making a full tilt.
He's like, man, you beat the shit out of that guy.
That little ass. So,
and mind you, there's like 400 people here.
Oh, like, this is a crowd. It's not like 10 cars. Yeah. It's one of the like small tires.
There was 3 classes in a street race.
Because you know we'd be
dying. Boy,
we'll be back there.
Fucking so he makes this lick, right? Yes. And it ain't but he just gets the car shut down at the end, and they're coming out of the woodworks. What the fuck's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Why do you do that? Da, da, da. I said, hey, I just talked to the guy running this. We've been waiting. He gave me a time limit.
45 minutes.
We came back. He said it was cool to run. Oh, that's not how we do it out here. So then they throw this big bitch fit.
Apparently we were in the wrong spot. We were supposed to be waiting over there, but we were over there waiting.
But you're talking, it wasn't
no one
just
said
us.
Anything.
It wasn't just us. You're talking second pair, third pair, like
daily, small, big tire.
Talking to people running the race, and they didn't say
Self
shit
was
to you.
in big tire.
And he was there
in
with
the
you?
F body.
Oh,
he was there.
So, but you were talking to people running the show, and they didn't say shit to you.
The guy we gave our money and run the show. No. So, anyways, I think it was one of those things like you said. He knew him, so he went up, stirred a big shit. He comes over to us, and at this point, it's kind of getting a little heated. So, like, now the KC guys are we're brothering up. Yeah. You know, people we don't necessarily know Jimmy, yet. We're kind of getting on our side. They're getting on their side, and they're like, "Listen, you're gonna have to run this guy, or you're DQ'd." It's like
that is so fucked.
Yeah. So we're like,
and mind you, they've had the same. Ryan Mitchell went up the next race and had the same kind of shit.
This goes back to like episode 1 or 2 when we fucking talked about the bullshit that happens in racing. Example.
This is it right here.
Yeah. So anyway, we run the motherfucker again. I'm like, no, I ain't running that motherfucker. He lost. Fuck him. Mm-hmm. And then no, Cody's getting pissed off, and we run him again.
So we run him again. But what's ironic about the whole thing
is you run him for the first time, but it's your second hit.
It's my second hit.
Yeah.
And you got to think, like you said, we only brought a couple bottles. So we're kind of playing on dicey game because we're double dipping in classes. We got 2 bottles.
It makes a big difference.
The biggest shot we've ever put in this car on a half-ass tune.
On probably the most power one of the motors you've ever put in it before.
Yeah.
An
LS3.
LS3.
LS1 with no nitrogen. I had no idea what the fuck.
So
LS3 is going to make a lot more power.
Yeah.
Right.
So we get to this point where we're lining up for the first time with the guy, and he goes to make the hit, and we have our guy, one of our guys is videoing the starting line, I believe. Or tire crack.
Burnout Photography, I think, was there.
But he was either tire crack or he was like starting line, something up front. Well, he pulls Bret up, sets him, goes over. Oh no,
it's the other way around.
Other way around. He pulls him up, sets him, goes to pull Bret, and as he's pulling him up, when he sets him, all of a sudden his car.
Yeah, the other guy's car. He didn't get on his trans brake yet.
He was sitting on his foot brake when he set Bret. He jumped his trans brake.
So he rolled forward and got on his trans brake.
So the car rocked.
Yeah.
As that happens, guys on our side are like, oh, shit. Bangs the light, everything happens so fast. You got guys, hey, he jumped. And they're, oh, no, clean, going back and forth. So then finally it gets to the point where like.
What happened with the race, though?
He won.
By a lot.
Mind you, it was a 408 Pro, like F3 Pro Charger car. I was
LS3 down there,
yeah. Okay, sorry.
Sales went up, dude. Car was gone. He's just trying his. Got heart.
Yeah.
Miles and miles of heart.
Yeah.
So.
Brett's got the biggest heart.
Mind you, I'm listening to music at the same time.
Yeah.
Listen, what were you playing?
I don't remember what I was playing, but I had some Bluetooth. I was playing
it was like
some
song, man.
Fast 5 soundtrack, something along that line.
Akon or some shit.
So,
Fucker.
It had stock seats. We didn't have a cage. We didn't have Kirklands. We didn't have none of that.
Kirkland's?
We didn't have none of that shit. Like it was stock
He's been stuck on that. I always hang him up. I'm like, what'd you just say?
Yo,
like, what kind of seat you got?
I want to know what song you were listening to so bad. You have no idea.
I don't remember, dude. But so anyway, he jumped, dude. Because to me, when you get set, you can't move. There's no moving.
Right.
He's like, well, I don't want to burn my trans up. I'm like, dude, you're only going to be on it.
You're a nitrous car car. What the fuck?
And he was pro charged. He didn't need to.
It's gonna go off quick as fuck.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna burn.
So anyway, we fought, and this guy's girl brought a video. He didn't jump, and it's like, dude, we don't give a fuck. It's the whole.
We got our guy that was on the starting line with the video.
He was tire crack. He had his professional camera.
They're bringing people out with their, our guy like legit had, a setup. Like it was the rig, not just iPhones.
Well, that's.
That was our big heavyweight, and we were leaning up on it. And the guy running the show, he even made the call at one point. Was like, "Your guys' video, it looks exactly like you're saying."
Mm-hmm.
But in this video, he didn't look like he jumped.
Turns around. Well, it turns out what ends up happening is he ends up calling us for it. So then we're heading into the second round. That's when the shit gets more stirred. They're bringing him photos off their iPhones and bullshit. And his old boys.
Let's pause it right here. That's something I feel like most race promoters should say. Have camera people set up for tire crack and finish line cameras.
They do that now.
And then say in the racer meeting, I don't want to see your video, your cousin's video, your brother's video. I don't give a fuck. I got my people. That's the only video I'm going to look at, and I'm making a decision based on that video and that video. And then those people should be trained as well.
Yeah. Well, and now
straight down the finish line or whatever.
If you go towards a street racing chilling area, if no one says anything and it was a jump, if that guy beat you that jumped, that guy still wins. Like your crew has to say something.
Put
and
up
then I've even seen
$100, I think.
Right. And you have to put up the buy-in or whatever.
It's not a horrible thing, but.
Well, because you got to be able to, I like that because it's like, well, you got to be legit. I think we're right. Here's some money.
So if it's a clear jump, they call it. There's the flagger's just like, okay, he jumped and goes. If it's so close to where they got to review cameras, you have to put up
half the buy-in.
Yeah, they call it like a protest challenge of $50 or half the buy-in or whatever, and then do that, which that makes sense. But sorry, keep going.
No, you're good. Because that only makes sense. But anyways, they're bringing up their phones and they're trying to convince him. Well, they end up doing it. And I mean, we're kind of getting through the first round. We're thinking we're going to the second round.
Right.
Well, then finally we're trying to like figure it out, and we go to I think we even went to like the chip draw-in or something.
We were in the chip draw,
and he calls him and didn't say anything about him.
And Toby wasn't having any of this either.
Everybody was on our side at this point because it wasn't just us. We went a little later in the first round, and other people from our crew, more or less, were having the same issues. So then it becomes this whole deal, and he's like, "Well, he this happened, da da da." So then we finally come to an agreement where run him a third time, or we're going to be discontinued.
Yeah, we were going to lose if we didn't rerun him.
What a third time?
It's a third. So it's like my third pass for first round.
Confirmed. They have. That is their fucking
burnout. Yeah, there's a whole video on this.
Deal.
There's a whole video on Facebook of the whole kind of the every pass and just my part in the whole race.
Been like Huckleberry, it's just like. Hey,
and mind you, the guy driving the car.
We'll say it's okay.
The guy driving the car didn't own the car either.
But we come to find that out later. So, come to find out, we come to find out.
He's fine.
Oh,
you're good.
Yeah. So the guy goes, "Hey, you got to rerun him, or you're disqualified." Mm-hmm. So we're like, "What do we do?" I guess we rerun him.
Right.
So we pull up, and at this point now it's getting heated enough where everybody is. Like, there's just that tension in the air, and it's just on edge. A little bit of shit talking going back and forth. And so he pulls up, and I'm getting mouthy at this point, and we're pulling him up. He does his burnout, and he goes and does this, like, John Force burnout and just look like he cooked the tires. And I'm getting excited because I'm like, dude, if this thing doesn't hook up, like, we're going to get this dude, and he's going to be so mad that he spent extra money to double dip in a class that he should win. He should take home the money easy on this one.
Mm-hmm. No matter what. So
I'm getting excited at this point, and, like, we took a friend of ours that, like, wanted to get into it a little bit, and then he just sees this whole other side of me. I'm talking shit. Yeah. I'm yelling.
We'll put the video.
I get him
I want to get in that fucking moment, get in that space. I'd be going wild.
We get him up, and he's pulling him up, and I'm saying stuff. They got their windows down, and old boy goes to bang the light, and Brett's car hooks up, awesome, fucking gone. Everything it had, and it made a great pass. This dude smoking him.
I beat him by like 4 car lengths or something.
Oh, it was gnarly.
This is the best.
Everyone was like he put a hurting on him. It was like the picture on like on the pages for a while, but it was just funny because it was like that happens, and it was super clean. He got set, nothing, hit the light.
Yeah.
This dude is losing his shit. They're wanting to run again.
They said I jumped.
They said he jumped.
And I treated his ass. It was bad.
It was getting to this whole thing. So then it gets to the point where
I'll just show you the video.
After all this happens, I'm in the dude that was driving the car's face, and I'm yelling at him. I'm up in his shit. I'm yelling at him. And finally he's like, I don't know why you're all up my ass. I don't even own this car. I said, then who the fuck does? I want to talk to him. He steps aside. Here's this old man. And ironically, he was the one that was quizzing our car when we first showed up.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm all up his ass. So I'm up in his ass. It's a whole ordeal. I mean, you're talking about
this is my kind of place.
And and this old guy yelled out.
I love old guys.
What do you want to bet? $500?
No, he wanted to bet like $1,000.
Yeah, it was like $1,000. This dude was like, "Who wants to put $1,000 on this race?" And he said it to Blake, which was the kid that was with us, which we're still good friends with.
And he's just like,
and Blake's like, "I don't know what to do." I was like, "Motherfucker, you should take the bet." Because I could have came up with the money. We just would have had to go to the ATM. Like I didn't have a grand on me.
That'd be a stupid ass bet. To bet $1,000 against a
fucking
race
worth it,
car.
though.
It would have been that moment. You would have been the fucking god in the moment. But like that would have been a retarded bet. Like to bet $1,000 against that car.
It's just the dumb luck.
It would have been like
it finally calmed down. It finally calmed down. And I'm in the small tire class, and we went rounds in both classes.
Dude, hung in there. I mean, what's so funny about it is so after this whole fight and everything, and you're talking about round 1, first pair is now like a 3-hour fucking event.
Right. Yeah.
So what? You know, people are there like, hey, I got like 4 more rounds away, and I'm tired of watching these retards bang their heads against the wall. It's like, can I run my faster? Like, look, that car is slow and that's really fast. Let's get this fucking over with. Flip a coin or something.
Yeah.
It was bad.
So what did you guys figure out to get the car to work, or did it just start working?
Well, I mean, it's just F body with subframe connectors and a 9-inch. I mean,
It just started
just
working.
did a big-
worked.
I mean, like, did you do a better burnout, or
I don't know what happened.
I think it
when
was small stuff like,
or the road probably just started getting better without their burnout after burnout
I
after
guess
burnout.
because I launched that first pass and it just went.
The road probably just got better. I
think
guess. I mean, if you didn't change
part
anything,
of it was
then
that,
it could
but
be-
we also learned this is the small stuff. It's like, you're not figuring stuff out till you're getting in the moment. We figured out our tire pressure. You know, we figured out like, you know, because
I didn't even leave on bottle. When I beat him, we didn't leave on bottle. I hit it after. I just hit the switch
controller,
right after.
we can adjust the controller minute, but enough. So we're adjusting things like that. You know, we're slowly dialing stuff in. So I think through the night that helped, because we were playing that game at some point, because we were like, how much longer do we survive off these couple tanks we brought?
Right.
You know, because once this car's off nitrous, you're talking about
It ain't shit.
300 horsepower.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we ended up small tire. I think I went 3 rounds in small tire and 4 in daily.
Went semi.
Yeah, we went to
We went to
semi and daily.
semifinals, and no, it was small tire.
Oh, small tire and daily.
Because after the whole thing happened and everybody's like fighting and it's a big deal, now guys are like, we're watching the rest of the rounds and we're talking with people and they're like, man, your boy's carring and shit, it's slow. And I'm like, yeah, you're fucking right, but we're hanging out, you know?
We're having a good time.
But we're still in this bitch.
Yeah, we're still here.
we won though.
Yeah, so now we're going rounds and rounds, and then it kind of like slowly turns in like, man, his car's slow, it shouldn't be here. Like, man, it's working. Like, then it turns into, man, it's not doing half bad. It's
That's
kind of quick.
racing,
Yeah.
you know? I mean-
So
Well,
then
and
it
we-
kind of becomes this thing where like,
We raced another white F body in
later
small
on.
tire, and it's this dude's buddy.
It's not a
Like
horsepower
they're
game.
buddies.
it's not.
Yeah.
And
No.
we kind of learned that on early, so that's what we stuck to.
A to B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this dude, I raced another white F body, and these guys are like best friends apparently. The black F body that we had all the issues with, these guys are friends. Well, this motherfucker jumps. I mean, the light, he's gone, and then the light's on, and I just sat there. I didn't make
Yeah.
a pass.
Playing the JJ the boss game.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much. And then everyone's like, "Would you break?" And I'm like, "No, that motherfucker jumped."
Yeah, they were
and
all-
this dude's girlfriend got in our face. Like, this is the video. He didn't jump. And then we looked at Tommy. There's a guy that doing the chiropractic, and man, he was gone. And then the light was on. It was like a whole second.
That's smart though, because you're thinking about like
we were-
going backwards to the nitrous supply. You don't have a whole lot of nitrous.
When we were
You
young
saw
kids,
them
we didn't have
waste
10
it.
bottles.
Yeah.
You know,
Pretty smart.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
and what's ironic about it is like, it felt like it was just gonna, the volcano was gonna explode again, and then all of a sudden the video comes out, and it's like a couple people from both sides look at it, and they're like, "You're right, yeah." We'll just, like, all of it, like
Clear
building up, and then okay, we'll just let this be. We don't need to delay another 4 hours on some dumb
Clear
shit.
as fucking day. Yeah.
So then we went all the way around, and it literally got to the point where we're semis and small, and we're still in the street, but we're headed to the finals.
Right.
We're about to head to the final, or semis and both.
I think it was semis in both, and we lost. I think we
And-
lost in both semis.
No, we didn't. No, we went to the finals and we raced that.
Oh yeah,
That one guy with the Firebird.
Yeah, sorry.
So-
we raced the Firebird.
Anyways, we get to the point. I'm like, listen, the small tire cars are definitely faster than us, and this one car that was a Fox body, he was going rounds and he had a chance to win it. I'm like, listen, don't even just make a lick, don't spray it, just
save the spray.
Save it. We'll do the street car class. We might be able to bring home money in that.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So he makes a lick, and yeah, that dude comes back and like, I don't even know why this car has been around all damn night in small tire. And it's like, dude, we have like enough for one little bitty shot left, and we're gonna try it on the one class we might win.
Yeah.
Your car's fast, we'll give it to you. But
they're like, that wasn't spray, and we're like, no.
No.
They're like, what the? They're like,
yeah,
oh
so
my
now
God.
they're like disappointed because they wanted to beat it. And so then we get to the semis, and I mean, it is the closest fucking race I've ever seen.
It was another. It was
Another
a
blue
Firebird,
F body
I think. I think it was
Firebird,
a
kind of the
Firebird.
same thing. He was nitrous, super chill dude. He was cool the whole night with us.
He still Snapchats me.
Yeah, we both have him on friends list and shit like that. So, anyways, bangs a light, both cars are out. I mean, taillights are just right beside each other the whole way. Everybody at this point is like, it's no longer a KC versus St. Louis. It's like, this is good fucking racing. Like, this is what we came for.
What's really going on? Even that old guy came over and was like, man, you guys are good dudes. The guy that owned that black F body came over.
I told him to suck a fucking dick.
I would have been like, you're not a good dude.
And mind you, I ran out of nitrous at the 600 foot. And the guy just dink.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like photo finish.
Yeah.
It was like, perfect. Fuck. No animosity. Shook dude's hand. He got paid. I mean, the wild night of racing.
5 in the morning.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to go to like 3 other. Oh, yeah, we didn't. When I raced, so we were in the semis and small tire. I was racing a silver Fox body, and we're on the line of the road we've been racing the whole night. And I probably could have got him on that road, because it was asphalt. And cops showed. We were at the line, did our burnouts, about to go. Cops are rolling down, and I'm freaking the fuck out because we never seen this. We're young, you know.
And you're like Fast and Furious.
And
Dude, exactly what we did.
Yeah, Cody and Blake sprinted to the truck, put the ramps down, and I fucking
we got like the ramps up. He's still coming down the road. Didn't skip a beat. Like up on the trailer. Everything.
We didn't strap it down. I stayed in the car.
Fast and Furious moment,
pulled up to the gas station. I got out of the car, strapped it down.
We just tugged it as fast as we could out of there.
Moment. It, surprisingly, in my F body, the moment of like,
it's fucking wild.
I got pulled up on by cops one time, and then the moment the cops come rolling up when we were racing, it just started pouring rain, and I had the T-tops off. So me and my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, but my wife now, we're like rolling out. And I saw the cops go to some other people like over here. So we get out of the car real quick, just throw the T-tops on, plop them in, and we're like, get out of there. It's like fucking old school Fast and Furious bullshit.
That's so a memory. Fun. This memory is gonna be. I mean,
you'll remember for the rest of your life.
And there's still people that talk about it to this day. There's a whole ass video about it.
Yeah,
we'll have to show it. But dude, like in the video that the guy smoked his tires and I beat him. The whole 8th mile, there's people on the other side of the road in the grass. The whole 8th mile lined of people.
Yeah, we'll have to link it. So find the video. We'll put it in the link.
Yeah, it's on Facebook somewhere.
Yeah. Yep.
But no, it's a damn good story. We had a blast. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. We finally got done, and we drove like 30 minutes home. Stopped at a gas station. We were all passed the crap out in the gas.
I bet.
Take a little cat nap in the truck. On home in a little bit.
Oh, it was terrible. It was a fucking blast.
Be dead.
Yeah, I mean,
especially after that exciting night. I mean,
yeah,
you're on this cloud 9 for fucking 10 hours, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then they did another race the same year. We didn't go to it because fuck that.
I wouldn't.
So Ryan Mitchell went up to this race, and so the flagger never hit the light. He came up with no light on, so both racers left at kind of whenever they felt like it, and they said Ryan jumped. Ryan left before the other guy, but the light never came on, and they said Ryan jumped.
I think both jumped.
First round, they fought about and Ryan, they said he lost.
They both jumped. If they both went and there's no light on, they both jump. It doesn't matter. Like, you could run back and go like this, but you're not supposed to go until you see the light on.
I've had him come up with the light be in the guy's face.
On his face.
I've had him come up and then they hit the light in their face, and then I've had him come up with the light on. So he comes up with the light on, and we're like,
guess we're leaving.
At that point, it's who left first.
Yeah. But we did an absolute. I mean, dude, I bought the car with 120,000 miles on it, and when we pulled the LS1 out of it, it had 230 on it, and that was within a year and a half.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And then we put the LS3 in it after that, and we did. I mean, we made 100 passes that year with the LS3, and then in October it was really cold. And so we and him we didn't really know a whole lot about nano at the time, nano nitrous, if anyone knows about it. So the bottle was like 30 degrees.
Oh, shit.
So we sprayed twice as much. So we sprayed a 500 shot on a 250 shot tune, and we smoked the heads.
Yeah.
Burnt the valves up. But the short block was great. But I ended up building the short block, and we had rod and piston LS3, and then I blew that up like not too long ago.
Dadgummit.
Not
so
too
it's just
far
kind of that
after
simple. It's that simple thing of if you're talking about nitrous, you have liquid nitrous and you have gas nitrous. So when it's cooler, it becomes more of a liquid. Right. And the thing about nano is it's like it just crams more air pressure into the tank. And because it's a different gas, it basically is heavier, so it gets below it and it pushes it in like a long and short of it.
And mind you, there's not as much oxygen in the nitrous either with the nano.
And then what you have is because
you're not putting oxygen in it.
Your orifice is a certain size. So technically, this is kind of where you can play a dicey game of if you jet the car for 100 shot, it doesn't matter that it's just 100 shot of nitrous. Now it matters because you have the pressure of the nano behind it and what the temperature of it is. So if you have a lot of pressure from the nano and it's cold, you can physically put more molecules through the hole.
Yeah.
So you're spraying more nitrous. So now you're talking, that was
they banned it in NHRA.
30% more nitrous hit or 50%. Because, that was the thing about the NHRA. They didn't like it because when those classes say, hey, you have to put these jets in it, everybody's on an even playing field. Bump it with nano, get your tanks cold. Not saying you should do this, but
yeah, you
then
can
squeeze a little more power
with the same
through.
Jet.
You should do this.
Yeah.
So, that's where...
Yeah, be aware.
As time goes on, we start to figure things out. And, he's spoon feeding us information. And we're just like two kids okay, get it cold. Get it ice cold. Just anything you can
Put
do
it in
to
the fucking cooler.
It'll run really good now.
It ran real good, and it was like...
It was like a 2-second beautiful hit. And then just car was like, somebody turned it off. Baku! It was like,
valve,
shit.
It burnt some of the valves.
Yeah.
There was holes. But the short block was great, and I was like, fuck it. Wisco pistons, Manley rods, and then the injector stuck wide open. One injector stuck wide open, hydrolocked the motor, blew a rod through the block. Had like $5,000 in the motor.
You'll have that on those big jobs.
But there was an injector driver. Injector driver went out on injector 1 and had two Bosch 210s in it.
Yep.
And it just wide open fucking... And we didn't know it. We didn't know that's why it blew up.
We just thought
until
it was a
we
fuel
put the
issue.
6.0 in it, and it's shoving fuel out the header and about caught the car on fire.
Yep.
Yeah, because the LS3 done blown a hole inside the block. We got this junkyard 6.0 that we slapped in this thing.
And we put the
a cam
LS3
in
heads
it.
on.
Yeah, LS3 heads. Changed the intake setup to a pretty nice setup that we liked it. I was just YouTubing, and there's this guy that does a bunch of dyno stuff, and everything he's shown with this intake, it's proven numbers. I'm like, fuck it, that's the way to go. I'm like, the way your car runs and what we do with it, we need to go to this intake.
Right.
So I get him talked into that, and we do it. And we're like, you're ironing out the new setup. And we're at his house, and he's firing this thing up and turns it off. And I'm like, dude, it smells like fuel in here. He's like, yeah, kind of. So we're checking lines and stuff. We're like, we don't see no leaks. Okay. Fire it up one more time. And I see a whoosh. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Was that fire? And the car had already been shut off by that time. I'm like, turn it on one more time. So now I'm on the ground, and I'm watching. And he turns the car on, and by that time it had been pouring enough fuel through the headers. It lit, and it caught fire. So now I'm ripping my shirt off. I'm like, turn it off, turn it off. I'm trying to smother the fire underneath his car.
Yeah.
He's like, what's going on? But yeah.
What's really going on?
Yeah.
On fire!
God. That was, and then honestly, one of the guys that raced with us, Andy, he was like, dude, I bet your injector driver's bad. And I'm like, really? It was just, yeah. I was going through some relationship shit, so I didn't really I was young. I didn't know any of this crap. I didn't even think the Holly could be bad.
Well,
you know what I
it's
mean?
Something you take for granted, yeah.
Because I kept getting fuel in the oil.
Yep.
Before I blew up the LS3, it was like, man, why am I getting all this fuel in the oil? But I was only running LS3 injectors at the time, so it wasn't kicking it out the header. But once we put those 210s in it, it was just dumping.
She was dumping, fire hosing.
Yeah. So it sucks because that motor, it's hard to find even an LS3 block for less than $1,000 that doesn't have a cracked cylinder and need. I just saw one today on Marketplace for
Got greedy
$500
with
has a
it.
cracked cylinder.
Yep.
I'll give you $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, me doing all my wheeling and dealing. That's how we came across that. It was in DeSoto or something.
It was in DeSoto, and it was some guy that had his own shop. He does a lot of Beamer and he was a certified BMW tech. But he does a lot of Lambo and Ferrari exhaust.
What's his name, Brady?
Fuck
No.
no. Dude, don't get me involved.
But his buddy,
Don't get me involved.
his buddy had a 13 Camaro, and they put a Texas Speed motor in it with a Pro Charger, and this motor had was like 20,000 miles or something.
It was low. I mean, it was like you bought the
long
car,
block,
Yeah.
and let's
20,000
build
miles, and he's like, I bought it for $3,000.
Nice.
Good deal.
it. We were sitting there, and I was like, "Dude, look at this! Like, you think that's real? Let's hit him up."
I thought it was fake.
2
love
hours
that.
later, coming home with a motor.
We all have is this a real Craigslist
And that's
or
when the
Facebook story,
addiction
marketplace
started.
story, and then it actually turns out to be real.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? I got.
What a dumbass.
I bought like I bought a 17 by 4.5 Ford bolt pattern weld Alumistar brand new in the box, and then another weld RTS like 18-inch skinny, just 2 wheels for like $200 or something like that. I saw them on Facebook. I'm like, no fucking way.
Those are like
Yeah.
$500 and $700 wheels.
Yeah. I was like, no fucking. One was at the time. One was 800. One was 700. I just bought a set of 17-inch welded Lumistars for $1,400. Like literally a couple weeks before this.
Yeah.
And I saw these things. I'm like, so I was like, there ain't no fucking way. So I messaged this guy, and this guy's like, yeah, my buddy owed me money, so he had these like wheels, so he gave them to me. I just want to get rid of them. And I was like, I'll meet you in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning, whatever time you want, I'll come and get them. The guy was like, all right, cool, meet me here. And I showed up, sure as shit. It was like $200. I fucking bought them. And then I flipped one, and I have one with the Alumistar sitting on my shelf because I plan on putting it, I own a Bullet or my truck or the truck or something. I was like, I'll have a weld Alumistar, 17-inch weld Alumistar.
That's what this guy
sitting
does.
around.
They find actually one of these race stars right here. Some dude bought a pallet, you know, like an Amazon pallet or whatever, and they had one of these wheels on it. And I think what Mitch like $100 or $50 or something.
You can find
stupid
fucking deals like that. I'm like, wow.
And then you just buy one brand new one, and then you go.
Yeah, and then
you
you
got
got a
one
deal.
brand new wheel and a
Because I was like, I'll flip that 18. They'll put it on something. It was like an 18 S77.
Yeah.
18 by 5 or whatever.
Well, even if it gets you into a pair of your front runners or your backs,
yeah,
Your money ahead.
it gives
money
me
ahead.
Yeah. So then I got $700 and a set of 2.
I've got a
Lumistar's.
$600 hose reel. I got an RTS hose reel.
Yeah.
It's cracked. Had it on my Mustang. I'm like, man, this front tire keeps going flat. Wonder why. Started hosing where the
spraying
black
it down.
Yeah, where the black part meets the chrome part, like on the face of the wheel is, bubbling up. I'm like, motherfucker.
was it a front runner or was
yeah.
it?
Yeah. 17 by 4.5.
Can't weld it.
Sure you can.
Well, I mean, he probably could have then, but he.
No, they didn't even have they have a 1-year warranty. Keep this in mind, folks. Weld Racing has a 1-year warranty on most wheels.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't
Because
know
I was
that.
like, hey, this is a Weld Racing wheel. It should have a
And
warranty
it's not
on
like
it.
you were going 690s or something stupid.
No, but it was a, almost daily driver car. So,
Damn,
I mean,
435.
yeah.
Dude,
Fucking
435.
potholes like a
So
motherfucker around here.
eat you up and spit you out, man.
Oh, yeah, but, I was dodging them or whatever. It was a fair weather car. It wasn't like snow and ice and shit, but still,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, you ever seen him when the whole fucking the hub comes out of the wheel and just breaks?
yeah,
the wheel
the
pops
Magnums, the Magnums are really bad about that. They're the ones with the circles.
always snap.
Whatever.
He's got a small dick. What?
Jesus. But no, the Magnums are the
Yeah.
ones with the circles and shit. They always snap around the hub or on the. Yeah.
Is that just bad design, or you think it's bad? Those ones just had bad material.
Misuse. They're not meant for the road.
That's
really.
true.
RTSs you can, but Magnums are just track only.
That's kind of the
gotcha.
point too. It's like that wheel is really only made for a specific thing,
Yeah.
And guys
people
are driving
use
them on
use
the-
it. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, there's that because like I got a buddy that's like, I like welds and I want them on shit too.
They
but
look
I have a
good,
buddy
yeah.
that's like anti it, and he's like, well, you read on the internet and they got these issues and all that, and it's like maybe part of it is like the casting, or maybe they got a bad batch of material.
You bill it. Yeah.
But at the same time, there are guys that just use and abuse this shit. I put these front runners on my car. I
broke
drive it
fucking
every
2 weeks
damn
later.
day. It's
Yeah.
like, so it's kind of like, well, you're asking for
When
it. Yep. Get
free
in
game,
there.
free game.
when they say not for street use,
I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good,
There's
boss.
bush lights on the bottom, very
They're
bottom.
sleeping down there. Dude,
There
you
you
want a
go.
little Goldie? A little summer vacation early.
Yeah, Race Star came out with some crazy shit in the last couple years to try to compete.
Yeah, they've got top fuel wheels. Son of a.
Is it the Laguna? What's the one that's like, it's like a 5-spoke, but the two are real tight?
I don't know.
I think
I
it's a Laguna.
am
Cletus
not.
has it on that Tahoe. Have you seen that Tahoe they got?
The green one?
The green one?
The one that Keith built?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, those wheels are on that thing and it looks so good. I don't know what they are, like 18s, 20s.
I thought they're billet specialties.
I don't know.
Maybe they are billet
I
specialties.
think they're billet specialties.
I don't.
It's worth a Google.
I am not an RTS fan.
I know what you're saying.
Give it a goog.
I know what you're
They're
talking about.
pretty
Billet
similar to
specialties
the
are good
race
looking
star
wheels.
ones, I
though.
think.
Well, they look
Yeah.
good.
I'm
all
not
right.
a race star fan. I've never.
You don't like Poverty Stars?
No.
All right, let's talk about it. No.
Jason's too rich.
No.
Yeah,
No.
I'm not-
I've never cared for the designs.
Yeah.
It's
I liked
my
them
taste.
at first, and then
They're great wheels for the money. I will say that, but
what's yours? Honeycomb ones?
Yeah, so mine are called, they're 93s. So if you get on there and you try to order them now, there's 92s and there's 94s. They discontinued my wheel because the hubcap portion of it, it's bigger and it goes on with like a hex head, but they're notorious for fading really bad. So they were like, we're not dicking with this. We're just going to pull this line. So that was the whole reason. I'm like,
Quality
I'm
control, yeah.
I'm going to keep these wheels because like,
You had you traded the ZR1s for him, didn't you?
yeah, when I had wrecked the car, I traded them off. I think I might even gave old boy a little bit of money kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he was like, oh, I'm tired of the bigs and littles type deal. And I'm like,
how could you be tired of bigs and littles?
I know.
Everything deserves bigs and littles.
I think it looks real good. Good.
Oh, fuck yeah. 17s and 15s.
I got friends that beat me up over it, but
17s and 15s. You got 17s and 18s, cuz.
17s and 18s?
That's what's. I mean, sorry, 15s and 18s.
I was like, damn, we're big wheel racing now.
gotta be 17.
dude, I'll be dong. I'm
Yeah.
going dong.
I got 18s on the front of mine,
It does look good, though.
but I traded some Jeg wheels for him with a little bit of cash.
Yeah.
So
They gotta be 17s, though. Brady's waiting for it. He's like, you gonna say it? But still, that size
that's
difference.
Corvette shit, though. You know, most Corvettes have 18s or on the front.
Yeah,
Skinnies.
big calipers and brakes and shit.
Yeah, it's all about the brakes and what they can fit.
I got the Strange. I could put 15s on my front if I want to.
Yeah.
So, what? This guy Brett's told me before that you are a painter, right? You do some body work.
I'm a glorified porter. They pay me and I move cars in and out of the shop.
Nice.
Paint and body work. Yeah, that's what I do. I do paint.
So
body
when did you get into that?
I got into that about 2015. So coming out of high school, back to the car thing, I was like, got to do something to make money. Ironically, I had a cousin and an uncle that did it for a living. And keep in mind, my cousin had this Mustang GT that was fairly new, and he'd put a blower and all sorts of stuff on it. My uncle's got a 69 Fastback, and he's got this nice truck. And
all the money's in that.
Well, they're doing well, and they're playing with their cars. And I'm like,
Right.
that's a lifestyle I could do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, they know
He
what
did
they're
try to be
doing.
a pipe fitter.
I tried it. I tried to go the union way and just I
His
can't
dimes
conform.
weren't good.
You didn't have the end. Hey, you didn't have the end.
Well, I kind of did,
He
but
kind of did.
yeah,
Right,
I mean,
it
it was honestly more about money at the time. It was kind of one of those things. Is like you're just a skosh above. Like you're starting out either way, but it's a skosh above the other, and it's like, listen, I need every penny I can because I'm broke.
We're trying to race car, fam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can only eat so many canned goods and then splurge for hot dogs and macaroni on a Friday night.
Damn, hot dogs at Mac?
Dude,
Hey.
where's it at right now?
shit
I'm
hits.
hungry.
That's some good eating when you're broke. But
A little bit of ramen.
anyways, I decided to go to school. So I took a year off. I saved every penny I could.
Yep.
Went to Washburn Tech.
In Topeka?
Yep, in Topeka.
No shit.
Yeah.
Shouts out Topeka.
So you want to hear a funny
when you
story?
went there?
So I lived over towards. I
God
lived on
here
my
we
buddy's
go.
couch in his apartment
In Topeka?
in Topeka.
Man, we
Off
are a
Wanamaker.
lot alike over here.
Dude, so I literally
Good old
lived.
Topeka.
It's
Me
rough
and Brad
out
are
there.
just like,
Well, you were in a house at one point, right?
I've lived in Topeka my whole life.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I know exactly
I was
where you
just-
You might not
I've been
I
seeing
know
that
all
baby
about it.
running around.
You might not remember this, but I think me and you have actually met before. And the reason I say this is because I got a buddy that's got a Corvette. We came over to, I believe you had a detached garage to your parents' house, maybe. Your dad had a Mustang or something, or some sort of muscle car.
Yeah.
You were selling something.
Yeah.
Because
who were you with?
You know Justin Landon?
Was it the Weld wheels?
They might have been Weld wheels.
Yeah, white yellow Corvette.
No, it was yellow. It was yellow.
Yellow. Okay, so yeah, it is an LSX killer badge on the back. I sold my. So this is fucking wild as shit
crazy.
right here. So
I never heard this story.
That's a very funny story. So my Camaro, I had a 2000 Camaro SS pewter SS car, black interior, had a RPM Stage 5 T56, a Fab 9-inch underneath that, all the suspension underneath it. It was just a cam LS1 car headers and basic bolt-ons or whatever. So I had that car for a while. That was my baby. I want to find that thing back. That's why I asked you what color that car was, because I was just like, man, that sounds like my old car. I've looked for it forever. I sold it. The guy said somebody told me that they wrecked it in Manhattan, but I don't know for sure, because I've had people run the VIN. They said that it's been tagged recently, and I'm always on the lookout for it. It's pewter. Again, 2000.
Hit us up with Brady's old
SS
car.
I'll post pictures of it here. So I bought welds for it back then, and I sold them. Or I was like, I'll get rid of them. I sold them for a pretty good fucking steal too. And then that dude hit me up. He came and bought the welds. It was at my dad's house. It's a three-car garage. The old '64 F100 sitting there. We have my dad has a '73 Mercury Cougar XR7, 01 Bullet, which is now, I bought that from him. It's actually sitting in my garage over here. Sweet. My wife's car. So yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, I sold him those, and then I think I sold him some Deca 80-pound injectors later on too. What?
How old were you? How old was this? Like how long ago was this?
2016, 17 maybe. And if he met I remember the guy. He was cool as shit. Was it just you were with him, or was it just you?
Him. No, it was me and him. We were together.
Because he still got that car too. That yellow.
Did you not realize that until I walked in the door, or you just knew that? No.
So this is how it goes. So. Like, I remember meeting you at Brett's housewarming party. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like what I remember the first, meeting. But anyways, I have a horde of motors over here in the corner, and he's building that Corvette again. And he's like, dude, let me get a motor. I'm like, fine, come over, pick it up. We'll throw it in the truck. Right. So he comes over, and we were talking, and I think we brought you up because he's talking about the podcast, having the questions and stuff. And I had said your name, and he's like, "Oh, remember?" I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Because I remember the detached garage, and I remember the cars. Yeah. But as far as like the face, and I know we've probably talked forever knowing me.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
It's
crazy.
Yeah. So he's like, "Yeah, dude, you've already met him once." I'm like, "Oh shit!" But now that's funny you say those Decas. So those Decas are back. I have them, and we put them in my buddy's LS swapped Bullet.
No shit.
Yeah.
Those same injectors?
They're out there in that car running it right now.
I'll be dipped.
In a Bullet, too.
In a Bullet.
Full circle.
Yep. And we just got it going again. I sent you guys a video.
Yep. I bought those for my BMW. Because when I bought it, I was just like, we'll keep it on lower boost and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then when I started putting Holly on it, I started putting a power glide to it. And I'm like, this is not enough injector for this car with a turbo. No, so then I got some Bosch 210s, threw it on it. Because I was like, E85, we're going to go. Because as soon as I made a jump to Holly from a stock ECU, that's when I was like, I'm putting a bigger injector on it because we're going to go E85 and turn it up. Because that solved my boost controller issue. And then for the longest time, I was like, 15. I'm never going to run more than 15 pounds.
Everyone's
I don't even think the first day it left the shop on some boost other than wastegate, it wasn't even on 15 pounds. It was already on like 18, and then I just kept going, okay, let's go a little more.
Hit the up here.
That is
going to be
my
problem.
That is really weird. So
it's easy.
You went to Washburn Tech. You got your you did the school there. How was the school there? Was it shitty? Was it good? Talk shit if it's bad.
No. So I mean,
I like it.
It's one of those things that
he's like,
you got two things going. It's like one. I would say it's probably definitely getting better because you got the early stages of when something is super affordable. You don't expect top tier results. but you also have certain kind of people, like a hard-headed kid that doesn't want to listen to anybody. Like I was willing to learn, but I also butted heads with one of the instructors at first, so that puts you in a bind for a bit.
Yep.
But I did learn a lot. But one of the things I learned more was like it's crazy how like not necessarily skilled wise, but like life lessons, like about people and the way like the world works, and like when you pay for something, what you'll get versus when you're a certain way to somebody that can teach you something. They might, because the instructor I butted heads with the first year, I'm surprised he didn't kick my ass out. Second year, we got to a point where he was showing me tips and tricks and things he had learned from owning a body shop for 40 years. It's like, when you open your mind up to it and you're willing to just at least listen to him for a minute, you can learn something.
Yep.
So my second year was way better than my first year. But as far as schooling goes, I mean, it is what it is. I got a lot of certificates out of it, so it helps me be more valuable in my job. But another thing, I mean, outside of that, and then like understanding how people worked, because that really, because before that I was just, just do this, you do that, they pay you, blah, blah, blah. People got different intentions. They try to do different things, Money is a factor in everything.
Oh, yeah.
So when I finally got in with a job, I was washing cars. I was washing cars at a body shop. It was Ford. And I was like, get your foot in the door anywhere. The second something pops up, you don't know how to do shit, but you're going to try your heart out, see if you make it.
And he can bullshit his way through anything.
So, sure enough, guy's been there working for a while. I went to school with him. That's how I got the car wash job. His cousin or whatever works this other job, putting in sprinkler systems. Hey, my cousin got me this job. I'm going to dip, man. You want me to say something about maybe you? I was like, I'll do anything. I'll do anything to try to learn. So he's dipping. He puts in a word, and the lady running the place was like, hey, we can kind of put you under this old guy here and let it, he can teach you some things. Right. And I was like, willing to do it. Yeah, I didn't want to do body work. I wanted to paint. Because when I was in school, a lot of it was I was painting a lot more than I was doing body work. So I was more in a rhythm of that. And it was like the last end of my segment of school.
You were comfortable with it.
So I was more comfortable with it. Banging and hammering on, sheet metal, I ain't done much of it yet. So I get in at the body tech spot, and I'm learning to tear the cars apart and how they work and how dents work. And you ever heard of Skills USA?
Yep.
So that's funny. I competed in Skills USA.
I competed in Skills USA too.
Yep.
So
you did too? What did you do?
Shop class, auto tech.
I did
yeah.
architecture, actually.
Right on. Yeah, so I went for body tech.
Did you go to Wichita or what?
Went to Wichita.
Yep.
Went to Wichita. Went to State.
You should have went pipe fitting. Where the fuck are you, Brad?
They have welders there, man.
I know.
They're doing the upside down, the spin around.
Skills USA is a fucking experience.
I
was so nervous.
It's wild.
I thought I was going to get whopped when I walked into the room. I swear. I'm going to tell my story. I wonder what your story is.
Like you guys went during high school?
I went when I was in high school. So this is very interesting. So when I was in high school, I did architecture and engineer did CAD design, and I really fucking loved it. I had this old school teacher, is fucking dope as fuck. He took me for architecture. When I walked in the door, I ended up going to Washburn Tech too later on, which I didn't like because we just did. It was fucking retarded. I'm not even gonna get into that. But the architecture thing was dope. And I went in and I walked into this classroom, and there was people wearing like Skills USA jackets and shit. Like they were like about it. I walked in with some jeans and just a normal ass joke, and I sat down, and in my brain I said, I'm in the presence of people who are better than me, and I'm about to get fucked up. Not at all what happened. I ended up I was like a freshman or sophomore in high school. There were several people who were seniors at multi-year. I ended up finishing like 5th out of like 50 or 60 people who ended up doing, because what they did was, you didn't know what you were going to draw. They dropped something in front of you and said, draw this. And it was a building. It had different design, and then you just had to draw it on CAD and then turn it in. And I ended up placing like 5th place.
Real quick, so, with your experience with that, was it vague? They were like, here, just draw this. And you're like, okay.
So the funny thing is like in CAD, you like when you're putting toilets and stuff like that in, you would go to insert, and there's like different things. Like there's different like options. Like you can choose this toilet or this toilet or this toilet. And when I started drawing it,
CAD together.
I couldn't get it to line up right to look like because what they gave you is just a blueprint map of different floor levels and like a front view, and then that's what you had to give.
Put the doors in there.
So I fucking rigged the shit out of it. It wouldn't fit right, and I ended up just drawing it with lines because you're dropped on your head instant. You're like, what the fuck? And I think that's where a lot of people struggled. And there was
find
people,
all the fuckery.
There was people who thought they had the 12-inch dick.
It almost like
and I walked in there.
You got to problem solve. You got to figure out
as a fucking freshman or sophomore in high school, and there was kids like a kid that got a full ride to Kansas State on architecture, finished third, and I got fifth, and I was like, fuck yeah. And I probably would have pursued that into college if my instructor didn't retire. My instructor was cool. He was like old. He didn't give a fuck. He cussed people out. Like if you wanted to be there, he treated you like gold.
Yeah.
But if you fucked around, he fucking hated you, and he'd cuss you out and throw your ass out and throw shit.
Yeah.
And, like he'd be angry as fuck. But anyway, go ahead.
You got to think of the kids that come through Topeka.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure.
There's some kids that are serious and they want to learn.
You're one of a kind, Brady. That's what he's saying.
Huh?
You're one of a kind.
But it's
believe me, I know.
It's one of those things that
we're not worthy.
Yeah.
It's just it's just the type of people in the long and short. But no, I went to Skills USA. I placed first in Kansas. Got the gold medal.
Goat.
So then they ended up sending us out to Kentucky for a week. Mm-hmm. You do the whole thing and you compete for that for the national level.
Yeah.
Wait, what year was this?
2015, 2016.
Okay, yeah, it would have been way after. Okay, go ahead.
So, the whole thing about it when you're talking about, I'd been comfortably painting for the school, and then it's all of a sudden, I was washing cars. Now I'm an entry-level tech under a guy that does this for a living, and now 3 weeks later, I'm rushing to go to Skills. I don't really have an idea what I'm doing, and like I said, it was like, here's a fender, here's 3 dents, fix them. And one might be on a body line, one's out in the open. You're like, what the hell do I do?
Yeah.
And then they're like, here's a bumper, it's torn to hell.
It's scary.
Fix this. Here's all your materials. You're looking at a table. You're like, hell, I was washing cars 3 weeks ago. I don't even know what I'm doing.
We're all nervous as fuck. You can't enter that competition and not be nervous. It is fucking scary.
I had a shop teacher that didn't really work with this a whole lot. He was just basically, here's a curriculum, we're going to learn that. And when I was a kid, I was all about high performance, still am, but he was one of the guys that was like, headers don't do anything.
Oh my God.
He hated high performance stuff. He didn't care about it. Torque is or horsepower is a calculation of torque, which it is. But he was like, well, if it doesn't make torque, it's not going to make horsepower.
Go kill yourself.
Yeah. From day one, he and I didn't get along, but I was more in the upper level of that my class.
Right.
Like I had a head start on the other kids there. Right. And he was like, hey, you want to do Skills USA? I'm like, what the fuck is that? Mm-hmm. He was like, well, you go and diagnose problems and stuff. I'm like, I'll try. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But it was same scenario. They just throw you in. There was one, it was a Cadillac XLR. They're like, oh, it's out of alignment. Show us where you do the alignment and how to do it. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Did you do that in Wichita or where was it?
That was in Harrisonville.
Oh, okay.
I went to the Cass Career Center. Okay. But the Skills was in Lee Summit at the college there.
My brother did automotive class. He did HVAC too, but automotive class in high school at Skills USA in Topeka. Washburn Tech in Topeka, and they did a thing at the Speedway where they had all the bays, all the tech bays filled with cars, and then you just diagnose the issue. Whoever finishes it first places. And I don't remember what place he got. He definitely finished either, I think, first through third, somewhere in there. And then they gave him an OBV2 scanner tool. And we still have it today. We use that motherfucker all the time. We've cleared codes right before we trade a vehicle in.
Yes, sir.
With them. So,
train's going out, clear that code.
Exactly. So today, where do you work today?
I work at Car Start.
Car Start.
So it's basically like There's a bunch of different.
Right.
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a franchise.
Right.
So they can be privately owned. You know, it just kind of depends on the route. But I mean, it's basically like you're just generic body shop.
So you paint though?
No, I do body
You only do body?
at work.
And he does.
And then you paint
he's
on
a
the
mechanic
side.
too.
Paint on the side.
So do you want to get to where you lay and paint like as a job or not?
No.
This is fucking a good person to know though. You be doing paint, you do body
Well,
work.
Mitch does the paint.
Yeah, but he can lay
So
paint
that's-
too, so he can do body work. 'Cause that's what he does
there's
every
more
day.
to that
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things of it's weird how it's split up enough. It's like I know what I do at work and I can do it efficiently to myself, you know. And there's things that I know that help me get my job done.
Right.
There's things when you become like, for instance, a production painter. Like I would make the joke now. I'm not a painter. I'm an applicator. I can squeeze the trigger and the paint gets put on whatever I want to paint it on. When it comes to painting, as far as like a car gets wrecked and now you're trying to color match a front end or a door, now you're playing a whole new game. I mean, it's not. You take an art class, you got the
Yeah.
color wheel. Same
You're right.
damn. It's
You're
the
right.
same thing.
You're Matt. Yeah.
Now
gotta
you got
blend it.
that.
It's a
but-
bigger picture. Yeah, it's
yeah,
more
So
complicated.
like, I mean, you look over there. There's just a shelf.
Look
full
like
of
it's
shit.
never been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I mean, it's one of those things of you got to know what colors go where, and you do have like a computer telling you stuff. But like one of the things is like I talked with my buddy Mitch because ironically, so he, back up a second, he went to school with me. I was washing cars and I got to be a tech. I wanted to be a painter, and ironically, he wanted to be a body tech. So now I'm being a body tech, and then the young kid that was painting decides he's going to go to the family business, so he's done painting. Well, now they need a guy to fill that spot. So now I'm torn. I'm like, I want to paint. Like I was, it's going to sound cheesy, but I was watching like Chip Foose and West Coast and them do all their things, and the whole time I've ever watched that stuff growing up was like, I want to paint cars. I want to make stuff look cool.
Yeah.
And I don't care about the rest. The rest will come. So anyways, he was like, I want to learn how to do that kind of stuff. I want to straighten. I want to do metal work, da-da-da-da. Well, I got torn where I got put in a position where if I took that job, the old man that was teaching me his tips and tricks, I'm kind of burning the bridge.
Ooh.
Because he's wasted, because you're talking
Long
about...
game.
Well, because the way we get paid is off of a flag basis.
Yep.
You give me 10 cars, I get paid on 10 cars and whatever that ticket says. So if I sit around and I don't do shit all week, I'm not getting paid. I got to get them 10 cars done. And for me to be good at what I do, I need to do it fast and I need to, get it done right because you don't want comebacks either. But long and short of it, it's like this guy's already been spending time with me. If I go, hey, deuces, dude, I'm going to go try the painting thing. He's like, dude,
Like, what the
I've been
fuck?
wasting my time, which means
Teaching
money,
you.
teaching you, and you're just going to ditch? So I'm like, I'm caught in this rut. Like, do I want to burn this bridge and try to still work next to this guy? Because that's another thing is you got to jive with your painter. If you don't get along with the guy, he will make your life hell. And it goes the same way. I can make his life hell. So do you want to work at a place that like the guy you're supposed to work with every day can determine your pay? Because
Right.
let's say, if there's 3 techs, 1 painter, if the other 2 guys are sending him work, because you got to paint everything,
Right.
he might be able to weasel it that, I'll get those cars painted before his.
Right.
Well, if you're sitting waiting on a car to come back from paint, you ain't going to be able to flag it. You're not going to make no money yet.
That makes
Right.
sense.
You got to get them in and you got to get them out. So you got to play with these guys a little bit and,
Right.
give and take. So needless to say, I was like, I'm going to stick this route. Old boy's already helping me. I called my buddy Mitch. I'm like, hey, dude, I know it's not ideal, but they got a spot. You got to get in here.
Right.
So I get him talked into it. He comes, and yeah, they hired him. So then we're working together for like a year, and it's kind of all cool. And then like being young and dumb, shit happens. Life goes to hell in a handbasket. I end up leaving, and that's when I was debating on being a union pipe fitter. And I was kind of just torn because it was like a little bit about, I wanted more money.
Almost got that tattoo.
Yeah, no way,
He
dude.
was close. He's lying.
The whole thing across my chest. No, it was one of those things. You see your friend, he's making good money.
Right.
You know what he does. It's like that's an
for
option
sure.
to
It's a
explore.
drive.
We're all
Yeah.
trying to figure, like, I think every fucking, at least man, at least going through their teenage years, like
we want to do what your friends
feels that.
You want to do what your friends
through the college
are doing,
thing. It's like you're trying to figure it out. You're trying to figure out what's going to make me my solid living, and then you see people around you.
You want to
making
do because you want to ideally you want to do what you love, and you want to do something you enjoy. But at the same time, there's no point of being broke over it.
No,
Right.
I mean, like I didn't grow up poor per se, but it's like there's some things we didn't have. There's some things I would have liked.
Yeah.
There's things being like that's part of the reason why I hear the story about my dad having a Nova and he wrecked this thing, let it sit in a salvage yard, and then didn't ever claim it. So now I get to the point where I get a car and the second I bring it home, I get this attachment to it.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, that's because old boy that's doing this truck over here, it's his truck, and he's like, when the Ventura came around and the guy was wanting to buy it from me, I told the guy, I was like, hey, give me a day, I'll let you know. He's like, don't be an idiot. Why are you attached to that thing? You literally traded it. It's nothing you wanted. Mm-hmm. Like, well, I could do something cool. Like, wouldn't a Turbo LS be cool in that? Yeah, it would. But look at everything else.
100 other projects. Yeah.
Yeah. So I try to. It's hard, but I try to kind of narrow back to that. But it's just one of those things that I got kind of back to the whole thing. When I got into the business, I kind of was on the tilt of maybe dipping out because I didn't feel like the money was fair yet.
Yeah.
And then ended up going and working in Topeka, tried doing the office side of things. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dude, me sitting at a desk, that ain't me.
This motherfucker's got ADHD. This motherfucker right here.
So, anyways, I'm like, all right, this ain't it. And a buddy of mine we'd went to school with was still doing the body shop stuff too. And he's like, hey, I'm up here at this shop. Come up this way. I was like, okay. So I literally walk in the door, and as I walk in, the guy that's standing there, I'm like, oh shit, hey, what's up? Kid I went to high school, a friend of mine, it's his dad. I'm like, hey, what are you doing here, dude? He's like, oh, not much. I just run the place. I'm like, oh shit.
Perfect.
I was like, well, I'm here for an interview. He's like, no shit. So I got hired on the spot, more or less. So then I've just been doing that ever since. But
yeah, he's been at the same place.
The whole time since then.
Where is this at?
It's in Lenexa.
Lenexa. Cool.
And our owner, he owns multiple locations, so it's one of those things. But anyways, I now full-time body is what I've been doing. So long and short of things, life kind of threw me for a curveball right before all that, and I ended up moving back to town. I moved in with him. Mm-hmm. And I brought me and all my shit,
Yeah, we heard about that.
Yeah, I was working
Right.
nights.
Right.
I was working nights, and I come home and there's shit
everywhere.
I told him that he can move in, and then
he got a 3-bedroom house.
But he helped me.
Better
he
than
helped
Joel.
Me he initially got Joel kicked out. I didn't kick him out, but I told Joel, Cody was moving in. He was like, phew, I'm gone. I'm like, sweet.
I don't know why, but he did.
He's gonna catch me.
Yeah, he's gonna catch all my shit.
Yeah.
today.
So Cody moved in, and
about that guy.
I mean, we had shit everywhere. I mean, we had
That's
cars.
funny.
I mean, Cody had cars and stuff, and
I just
we had
wheeling
parties
and dealing,
and parties and
did
bonfires
the parties and the
and-
bonfires and
Jesus.
Some dime stacking,
They're dime stacking the hose.
stacking bodies.
I do miss that house, but it was a weird house. It needed a lot.
Weird house.
There's a lot of memories in there. Not very good. Some weren't good.
Bad and good.
Bad and good. Punching
Yeah.
holes.
well,
in
you get to
wall.
the point where you got
Do a Kyle. Punch up.
Damn it.
Yeah,
Keys.
I wasn't as
What was that?
patient as I am today as I was back then.
It do.
God
that
damn,
way.
Kyle.
Drank a lot. We drank a lot back then. When I was younger. I was drinking.
it was great for the time because he's saving a little money having a guy live with him. We're getting projects and shit done.
Right.
We're hot rodding. I'm saving a little money. So it was kind of a cool deal, but it was one of those things where it finally got to the point where I'm sure I was driving him nuts with. I mean, I would just drag shit home on a trailer.
Right.
Dragging shit home. I shit you not. One day, I took Blake. Our buddy that just kind of, he didn't live with us, but he lived with us. The dude was
damn near, yeah.
I'd come home and he'd be there playing PS4.
Right.
or
Like
you wake up in the morning, dude's on the couch. It's like,
house.
dude, do you have a home?
no, this is my home.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So I drug him one time out, bought this Suburban, and I kid you not, this thing was rolled 6 times.
Fuck.
Just boom, boom, boom. Started up and ran. I'm like, dude, I'll jack the roof out of it. We'll fix the roof. I'll put a windshield in. I'll put quarter glasses back in this thing. I'll flip this fucking thing. I shit you not. Like, the windshield was so bad you couldn't see out of it. And, I feel bad, but, like, on the way home from it, like, it's so bad I can't see shit out of this windshield. And I fucking hit, like, some sort of animal in the fucking road. Oh, it was huge. I sent it tumbling. And he called me and was like, what the hell was that? I was like, I have no idea. I can't see out of this windshield. I'm like Ace Ventura out of the side of this thing driving it home. And, I would drag shit like that home, and he'd be like, there's another truck outside. I'm like, oh, you didn't know I was, like, going to go buy that? He's like,
yeah, you weren't supposed to see that.
Yeah, like, I promise I'll get it fixed and flipped before you know it. So, like, it just got to the point where I had a bunch of them, and then I was like, you know what? We were out of a 2-car garage in his, like, the attached house.
Yeah.
And the 1-car shed. We were doing all the hot rod and shit we could out of the house garage, and it's cramped. And then my buddy Mitch that I went to school with, I got him talked into, like, hey, let's kind of go in on halves on this stuff. We'll buy some paint. We'll buy some materials. I'll fix the cars. You paint the cars. We'll kind of get this thing going. So we were doing a lot of side work out of this. Like, it was a 1-car shed.
It needed a lot.
There's holes in the siding.
Yeah.
The
no
concrete
insulation.
was like quickcrete
like
that we just spread it with a board.
Poured it by hand.
It was rough. But we're just slinging cars out of there just to kind of get a clientele more or less built up. And I got to the point where I'm like, kind of would like to have my own place, have a shop where we could do nicer stuff than just like, because what we were doing was we were saving people their deductibles. You know, if you got a $5,000 or $500 to $1,000 deductible, what a lot of people I think don't realize is that isn't something the body shop just charges. If I tell you it's going to take $5,000 to fix your car, it depends on your insurance, but they're going to go, hey, the last 10% you have to pay. Mm-hmm. That's what we call your deductible. So if it ends up only being a $500 or $1,000, because that's easier enough for people to justify or get through. So it's one of those things we were like, hey, cash your insurance check out. We'll fix it on the side. You won't have to pay your deductible, but we'll still get paid. So like, oh, I can get my car fixed and not have to out-of-pocket money?
Right.
Sure, let's do this.
Right.
So we were doing a lot of that. And got to the point where we were doing enough of it. We built an account, for it, and we had enough materials. And I was like, I want to get to the point where now you kind of pursue the dream of, I don't want to just do somebody's minivan.
Insurance jobs, yeah.
Yeah. I want to do a 66 Mustang or a Nova or an old C10 or something that's like when it's
has character.
At a car show.
You painted a whole short bed Chevy, you and Mitch.
Yeah, we painted we did all the body work.
Sound Innovations. Painted
Yes,
his
sir.
truck.
Our boy's down there, but in Lawrence, and he's got a single cab short bed. Funny story about that was he was like, I just want this painted one color. I want it to match my what's he got?
Buick. He's got one of those newer turbo.
The newer ones.
Yeah.
Really cool, like dark metallic gray color. And I just want it paint matched like this. I'm going to use it for maybe putting a mower in the back of it and going and mow my father-in-law's place or doing dumb shit. Using a truck, because he didn't have a truck at the time. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. So we get a hold of this thing and we're kind of slaving at it. And Mitch ends up going through stuff in his own life and kind of delay the project, but we're chipping away at it. But I was like, we're going all out. Like if this is going to be something that could be at a car show, let's put our name on it.
Right.
And we ended up doing all the body work. We smoothed the top of the rails and everything, and he got it back, and he's real appreciative of it. But I could just tell he's like, you guys just turned something I wanted to work it to like something I can't use, Right. So, but it's really cool. He's going through like full custom interior, putting a sound system in it.
That's cool.
It sits inside the shop.
It's a beautiful truck.
Got like the SS bumper and stuff. So like now he's going that show route, but it's kind of one of those things like, well, why not get some of your buddies, get their cars looking nice and right?
Yeah.
Because I'd rather have something sitting in a car show, somebody go, hey man, who painted this? Oh, my boy's over here. Or who did the sound system? Oh, this. Right. Because at the end of the day, like, people are happy you like save them their deductible.
Yeah.
If you wreck your car, you're not happy about it.
Yeah.
This asshole cut me off and da 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 da. It's like, and then you got the intermittent of insurance might want to pay for one thing, or like not OEM parts, trust me, I want to put as many OEM parts on the car as I can. They fit better.
Yeah, right.
They're easier
Less
to
work
work.
to do. Right.
But if the insurance is paying the bill, I got to do what they say. I know you as a customer, you know, we're going to try to get as much as we can for a standard for you, but the guys that are paying the bill, we have to consider them too.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard juggle because you're trying to please two different people.
Right.
Don't spend too much money because the insurance company don't like that, but you don't want to do something that, you know, isn't like to factory standards to a car that is customer because you want them to come back if something ever happened again, you know? So it's just one of those things, like, that's how we got into it.
Nice.
But
Yeah.
neither one
Mind
of
you,
us have anything that's
the
bad.
Firebird that his brother bought was in our garage for.
Oh, yeah, forever.
We did
Yeah.
it. We put the 417, the 416 in it.
Oh wait, so
And-
that's your brother?
No. His
No,
brother
my
bought
brother
the car.
bought the car.
But one of my buddies had the car.
Had the
and we
car.
did all the work to it, and it just never.
The
Wait,
car-
so your brother bought that car recently? Is it recently?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like
up there.
recently.
It's up in the garage.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
It's in the garage.
It's in the
It's in the
garage.
garage.
It's in the garage
Really?
under a tarp.
yeah,
The
so,
Firebird, the third gen, or
The
second gen?
no, it was a
No,
fortune.
The fourth gen. The fourth gen.
He's talking about, he
I
jumped.
thought you were talking about the
It's a
car
car
that used to
inside.
sit in your. I thought it was the car that you used to have at your house. I'm getting confused.
So, okay, let me back this up to you.
No,
He's
no,
talking
no,
about
it's a
Tyler's
car
car.
inside.
Oh, Tyler's
Yeah,
car.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
no,
You're
he's
talking about
talking
Tyler's
back
car.
Yeah,
car.
no, you're good.
Way back when.
No,
That's
you're
it.
good. But no, legit. So yeah, no, we're good. I get you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
get you. You know, damn, brother, you're killing it. We're gonna have a part two.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to go a part two on this bitch. So we're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it here.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'll talk for
yeah,
hours.
yeah. We just got into what? You just got into painting. You got your job. We haven't even covered your car yet. So
No,
next time we're gonna cover the car. Cody, we'll have you back for sure.
Okay.
So anyway, can you subscribe?
You ain't vibing.
All right, we're gonna see you next time.